And we are live. I'm here with Shanelle Dyer. If you haven't seen her fight, then you're missing out. Go check out her fights on YouTube. She's a little Muay Thai sensation, an MMA sensation, and she was one of my picks in our recent prospect show. So you need to get some Shanelle Dyer in your life if you haven't already. But welcome to the show, Shanelle.
Thanks.
It's so nice to see you again. The last time we spoke, well, we spoke after your last fight, but the last time we spoke on here, you were still in Thailand and you were about to fly home for your fight, and then you were going to fly back out to Thailand. But sadly, you're still here, aren't you?
Yeah, I got stranded, unfortunately.
COVID has ruined everyone's 2020. So what's the plan for you, Shanelle? Are you hoping to get back out to Thailand?
I'm hoping to get back out to Thailand. I was saying optimistic and was trying to say August time, but I don't think that's going to happen. This year is kind of looking like a write-off, so maybe in January time as well. Because my friends are looking to go out, so I might as well just fly out with them in January. But see how things go.
Yeah, it's AKA you were training out there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And you were loving it so much.
Yeah, I love just waking up, training, sleeping, training, sleeping and training every day.
Because most people would think for how young you are and stuff that you'd it'd be really tough for you to be away from your family, but you're so focused. You were just living that kind of really focused existence, weren't you?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to do when I was younger. I told my mum and my parents that all the time. I just want to sleep, train, sleep, train, sleep, train. And I could actually do that in Thailand, so I loved it. I video called my parents and my family every day. So even though I was thousands of miles away from them, it was like they were just in the room with me. So I really loved that as well.
To me, it's so exciting to hear someone as young as you just so focused and willing to commit everything to just trying to be a better fighter. Like, you're a hot prospect now, but I think with all that training, and really there was just nothing else in your life other than training, sleeping and eating, was there?
Exactly.
People had to tell you to go and do a bit of sightseeing.
Yeah, exactly. Even when I was in Thailand in AK, they're like, I can't believe you're 18 years old and without any parents, you're just there by yourself. And every day you'll just go training like 3-4 times a day without anyone telling you to do anything. Even when I was meant to have a rest day, they forced me to have rest days. I still went to do jiu-jitsu classes and stuff like that. Just obsessed with learning and just training.
Oh, I love to hear that. I would just really love to hear young fighters speak like that. And I can only imagine what you're going to be like with all that experience in a few years' time. It's super exciting for where you're going. But we talked about 2020 being a bit of a write-off of a year, but you've got a really big announcement for February now. It probably feels like a long way off, but you're in an 8-lady tournament. And it's a Muay Thai tournament at 57 kilos, Yeah,
it's a really big tournament. Only 3 fighters have been named at the moment. And one of the girls actually fought last year, and I lost split decision. Everyone thought I won that fight, but she won it, so I get to rematch her. And I'm hearing rumors about top ranked fighters fighting in it as well, so I get to put my name out more and show everyone what I can do.
This is another thing I love about you. You just always want the hardest fights. The last MMA fight you had, I was so excited for it because you're both such tough girls, and I knew you were both so talented. And although it didn't go your way on the night, she's super experienced and she's obviously going a long way as well. And by the time you're her age, I can't imagine what you would do to the Shanelle Dyer that you are now. So
exactly.
It's just fabulous, I think, to see people really searching out the toughest opponents, because a lot of people say that they'll fight anyone, but when it comes down to the crunch, not a lot of people want to be in the ring or the cage with the toughest opponent they can find.
Yeah, you might as well just fight the toughest opponent. There's no point fighting weak opponents. You're not really showing anyone what you can do. just preying on the weak. So I love fighting the toughest opponents, challenging myself as well. And it makes me improve in my fight camp as well, because I know I'm kind of at a disadvantage. So I'll push myself even more and try to rise to the occasion so I can hopefully beat them or be on that level.
It's just amazing. The things you say, you just sound so much more grown up than, than most people I know. It's awesome to hear you talk like that. And also, I knew from like that loss back in March, and also, like you mentioned, the split decision loss in Muay Thai. You're someone who, don't get me wrong, you're heartbroken, but you're just so determined to learn from those experiences and not feel that way again.
Yeah, I learn more from losses than I do winnings. Like after that loss, I was back training the next day straight away, learning what I did wrong, what I can do better, so I won't make those mistakes again in my next fights. Keep improving. So it will never happen again.
That's amazing, because a lot of people would have put that in the last round when it ended by TKO, you had that slip. So a lot of people would just say, oh, well, I slipped and blame it just on that. But you want to focus on any tiny hole in your game.
Exactly. That was the first time I've ever been TKO'd as well. So that I was heartbroken because of that, and because I had such an amazing fight camp. And obviously my parents paid for me to come back to England to do that fight as well. So I didn't really want to let them down. But
you didn't let anyone down. You were still amazing, and it was a fight between two warriors, and it was a real honor to be in the crowd and watch such a high level fight at a local level.
Yeah, that's the loss aside though. I actually really enjoyed the fight. I could see my improvements from the beginning, and I can see I'm more transitioning into being a more well-rounded fighter, more of an MMA fighter than just a Thai stand-up fight as well.
And just to remind people who don't know, your first MMA lesson was how long ago?
Last year, January.
And you hated it, right?
Oh, I hated it.
I still find that just insane.
I don't even know. I stayed. The only reason why I stayed is because Team Underground, the atmosphere in the gym was so amazing, and the people there were so encouraging. Steve was amazing as well. The first session I came in, he was like, "Oh, you're gonna be next UFC champion, ONE FC champion." So I really liked that vibe. So I just stayed, even though I was just getting choked out every 2 seconds, just like beat up, thrown around. I just stayed, and yeah.
Did you ever think you'd be wanting to do jiu-jitsu on your rest days?
No. I was one of those people like jiu-jitsu, why would you ever want to roll around on the floor? That's so pointless. You're just hugging each other. But now I actually do. I can see actually how hard it is. I've been doing it for more than a year now. I'm still I still consider myself a beginner, white belt.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So even though obviously in Thailand it's known for Thai fighting, you're still doing loads of jiu-jitsu at AKA, aren't you?
Yeah, I do jiu-jitsu every day there. Sometimes twice a day as well. I really want to get my ground game as good as my stand-up. Because I know my stand-up is kind of already there. So even in my fight camp, I kind of took a back foot in my stand-up and focused more on jiu-jitsu, my wrestling, takedown defenses. Because I know most of my opponents will be trying to take me down because they will see that as my weak point. So I've been trying to get my jiu-jitsu on par as my stand-up. So I enjoy it now, though.
Yeah, you just say all the right things. It's really exciting to hear you talk like that, and that's what I think. It's not just the talent that I see when you're in the cage. It's your whole mindset and how grounded you are. And we talked about the documentary that you were part of last time, BBC Three, for anybody that hasn't seen it. But like that will go to a lot of people's heads. But you're so grounded, and the way you talk about wanting to. It's also when people have a real strength to their game, it's natural to want to keep doing the thing that you're good at. It takes, somebody it's a champion's mindset to want to fill out the holes in your game, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Like I could have just stayed on the Thai boxing route because I'm already really good at that. But from going to top of Thai boxing, that I know a lot about it, to go back to the beginning kinda with jiu-jitsu. I usually go to classes. I'm one of the best in the classes for stand up. And I go to jiu-jitsu classes. I'm like the worst one there. So, but yeah, I just want to keep improving, and yeah.
Yeah, everybody's got to be the worst for a while.
Yeah.
And we spoke about the tournament that you're doing. Are there any MMA fights on the horizon? I know there's a few shows that are trying to start up. Would you like to get on one of these early cards, or how are you feeling about that?
Yeah, they couple shows offered me fights, but they offered me girls that are kind of way too heavy for me, because I actually walk at 57.
Right.
So I don't cut weight, and most of the girls I've been fighting, they cut weight like 10 kg plus, and my fights I had last year, Bezzy and Iverhoff, there was kind of at 50. Iverhoff was at 52, and I really enjoyed that fight. I thought that was a really good weight for me.
Yeah.
And the Bezzy fight, even though it was at 57, we both didn't cut weight for that fight, and that was a really, really good fight. One of the best fights I've had. So I think I want to go down to 52 kg. So that's the
I would love to see that. So yeah, that's it for any promoters watching. That's the weight you want to be matched at next.
Yeah, definitely.
So we had one comment from the lady from the Mini Beast movement. She would love to hear you speak a little bit about how you feel about being a mentor, if possible, and your future plans. She'd love to see you visit your young Mini Beast in the Netherlands.
Yeah, I'm a Mini Beast mentor, and the person I'm mentoring is Kana. She lives in the Netherlands. I actually really wanted to go out to train in the Netherlands this year. I was actually going to do a photo shoot in the Netherlands this year, but obviously that got cancelled. But I kind of want to do a training camp down there, because I know they have really good K1 gyms. They have Mike's gym. I want to go down there and hopefully train with her in the future. She's a really good fighter as well. And I think the Mini Beast program is actually a really great program, because obviously I've been doing this for a really long time, and I used to be a young fighter as well. When I was younger, there wasn't really stuff like this. No one kind of to mentor you, show you in the right direction. It was kind of a bit lost, but the generation now has this Mini Beast movement, so they get to be inspired by people that actually does MMA, K1, Jiu-Jitsu, other sports to inspire them.
So we're going to get Katie on one of the shows to talk about it. But basically, how does it happen? Do they approach you? How did you end up being a mentor?
She approached me first, but I was all for it, because I loved the idea. I loved what she's doing for the scene as well. She's uniting the scene. She has Mini Beasts all around the world, so it's a global thing as well, and it gives the Mini Beasts exposure. So that's really good.
So how did you get matched with your Mini Beast, and how do you stay in contact with them?
I got matched with her because I think Katie saw me as a good potential mentor to her, because we're kind of like, we both do K1, we're both aggressive fighters, both really technical fighters. She's only about 6 or 7, but she's never had a fight before.
God.
She's amazing. She's so determined. She's always training, always in the gym, always doing stuff exactly like me. So I really connect with her as well. I always check up on her, comment on her videos, do little TikToks with her. So,
how old? Sorry, what's her name again?
Kana.
Kana. Shout out to Kana. Keep up the great
amazing
work. Yeah, you are amazing to be doing it at that age and that focus. That's absolutely incredible.
That's amazing.
How old were you when you started?
I started when I was 9, but that was obviously K1 and Thai boxing as well. And I won 5 titles when I was 9, 9 to 11. But I took like a 3-year break in between, and I moved gyms to Knowsley. So yeah.
So is that where you're training now while you're at home, or are you still part of Team Underground as well?
Nosy on Team Underground. I came to Team Underground for MMA Jiu-Jitsu last year.
Okay. Daniel's got a comment as well. I think he's talking about the fact that you're looking for harder opponents, and I think he means like when you're pro, harder opponents for the same money, like Rocky. So what else did I want to ask you about? I did want to ask you about, I know you're not massively into watching the UFC, but I've got to ask you about some of the fights that are coming up on Fight Island, and what ones are you most looking forward to?
Obviously the Usman fight, Usman and Masvidal fight. I was watching all the promos. I'm actually really, really hyped for that fight. That's going to be amazing.
What's your prediction?
I don't know. I want Usman to win, but I actually don't know.
I feel like Usman's wrestling is going to be really tough to deal with without Masvidal having a full camp.
He took on a 6-day notice as well. That's the only reason kind of I'm leaning to Usman as well.
Yeah, because
he said he had to cut like 20 pounds in like 6 days, and he was eating pizza on the plane. So. I don't know.
Yeah, I wasn't sure whether he was just doing that for show or whether he was really eating it. But yeah, and then obviously his corner man, Mike Brown, has tested positive for COVID, so he can't go out there, and Dean Thomas is tested positive as well. So I don't even know who's going to be in Masvidal's corner at the moment. He could just be there by himself.
He'll probably still do. He'll probably still give an amazing fight there. So props to him.
And on that card, we've got an amazing ladies fight. Yeah. We've got Rose Namajunas versus Jessica Andrade. Obviously, Jessica won with the pile driver last time around. Last time those two faced each other. How do you see this fight going?
I don't know.
I'd love to see Rose do it. I think she can do it, but I've been watching the embeddeds and the Road to the Octagon and whatever they're called inside UFC, but Jessica looks so strong as well. I think Rose has got it covered. But so you're less into the UFC than most fighters, right?
Yeah.
But I know you're a fan of one. If you can see yourself at a promotion in the future, where would you like to be? Would it be one?
I want to fight in ONE FC before. I want to fight on both, but I want to fight in ONE FC before I fight in UFC. I want to hopefully do Thai in ONE FC and hopefully make my pro MMA debut there and do a bit of MMA there before I move to UFC. So that's hopefully.
That sounds like a plan. What is the timeline on that? Have you set yourself like goals on when you want to achieve this by?
I want to fight in ONE end of this year, early next year, hopefully in Thai, and I want to get the Thai belt, 52 kg, ONE FC. So after when I win that, defend it a couple of times, then see where my MMA is, and maybe take my MMA over there as well, and see how that plays out, and hopefully get signed to UFC after that.
That's amazing. So what training are you doing at the moment? Obviously, we're not supposed to be training. Gyms aren't open. Are you managing to get anything done?
Yeah, beginning of quarantine, I was doing training kind of myself in my garden, going over what I think I need to go over, mostly the basics. You can't really do much. I've been doing Zoom classes as well, my Thai coach. But past few weeks, I've been doing a little bits and pieces with Steve and some of the guys down at Team Underground. But obviously, the gyms are not officially open, so it's kind of hard of what you can kind of do. But we're trying to manage and stay fit and see where things go.
I was absolutely obsessed with your hair when you put up that training video of you, and I thought you're putting it up to show everyone you're training, and every comment was like, "Oh my god, I love your hair."
Yeah, hair shots weren't open, so I had to go default.
It looked amazing.
Yeah. Everyone was like, keep it out, but it's so hard to maintain. Like 5 minutes later, it just goes frizzy, and then no.
And that's what I was going to say. It's not very practical for like when you go back to training with someone else and they're getting you in guillotines and stuff, and you've got hair everywhere. But it looked absolutely stunning.
Thanks.
Is it? Has it been nice to have a little bit of a break, or for you, you just want to be training all the time?
I want to be training all the time because I hate not improving and doing nothing. But this is kind of a blessing in disguise because I've been training non-stop, literally for years and years. This is like definitely the longest break I've ever had. Before this, the longest break I've had was 1 week last year. I think that was over the Christmas holidays, and I hated that 1 week. So this has been like 3 months, and I'm so bored.
Well, I just think it's going to make you even more hungry.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm so excited to see you back in there. Just to hear the way you speak about training is just like I'm so excited for where you're going. I can't put it any better or clearer than that. I just think you've got the world in front of you, and I'm really excited that I've got to see you from the beginning. And hopefully you'll remember little old me when you're headlining on cards. But thank you so much for your time. Really exciting news about the tournament. You don't know where that's going to be yet, do you?
No, it'll be local. No further than Luton, but it'll probably be around London somewhere.
Yeah, so as soon as we know, we'll happily put up all the details from that on our page so people know if they can watch it, if potentially, I guess there could be tickets to go and watch it live by then, but if not, there'll probably be a pay-per-view link, and it's got a £2,000 prize for the winner of that tournament. So how nice would that be?
That's amazing. I'm more excited for the fights though, to be honest, but that's a bonus.
And I love that you're actually hoping for the hardest opponents to put their name into the ring for that, because if it was me, I'd be hoping.
I think UK rank 2 is going to be fighting on it as well, so hopefully I can fight her.
Would that be your dream final?
Yeah.
We've got one more question coming before we sign off. What would you say is your highlight fight? Ooh.
MMA wise?
You can say either.
My highlight fight, I'll say MMA wise is my fight against Bezzy.
Yeah.
In October. That was such a hard fight, but I think I actually showed more of what I can do in that fight in all my other fights. So yeah, I love that fight.
And what about in Thai?
I don't know about Thai. I've had like 70 plus fights in Thai. I don't know. All of them. My pro debut, because I cut her with an elbow. In, like,
how nice is it to be able to throw elbows for the first time?
I was actually in that fight. I was trying to throw elbows the whole fight, and I just kept missing. And then the last round, I think we was kind of drawing. And then I just threw an elbow, and I cut her. And then I just went all savage that last round, and that made me win the fight.
I love it, and that's why I love you, because you're the sweetest, like quietest, nicest girl, and then you are an absolute savage when you're in the cage. It's just fantastic to watch. And I also think people like you change people's opinions on what cage fighters are. You know, they still think it's this really brutal, gruesome sport between heavyweight men that just beat clumps out of each other, and there's people like you who, you know, are gathering their skills from wherever they can and training as much as possible. And when you go in there, it's beautiful to watch. It is art, and it's I think you're a great asset to the sport, and I'm really excited to see you back in there for Muay Thai and for MMA. And actually, you're getting new fans over to that sport, because I didn't really watch a lot of Muay Thai, but when you know someone in MMA, you want to see more of their fighting. So then you start looking up those fights as well. Or another question from Luke. Where can you see yourself this time next year, and what's your goal?
This time next year, hopefully with a Cage Warriors belt, and hopefully winning that tournament as well, and hopefully sign to one championship.
Oh my gosh, big goals, big goals. But you're so grounded. I really believe that you can do it, and you've got great people around you, and you're just doing everything right. So I'm really excited. I've said that about a million times now, but you're just one of the people that really shows me where MMA is going in the future, and it's just going to get, the level's going to get better and better and better. So thank you so much for your time, Shanelle. It's always amazing talking to you. Take care, stay safe, and yeah, happy training.
You too, stay safe.
Thank you so much, Shanelle.